Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, we're a little early. 12:31. Okay, great. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome again to Let's Talk with the City Manager. At least that's how we started it. But now we prefer to say Let's Talk NMB. So during this time, as we're not able to get together and speak together as a community, we now have an opportunity to meet. You may be on, sorry, because we're getting a feedback.
I just turned it off.
Okay. So this is an opportunity, and I apologize for that, for us to talk, to have a conversation about how are we doing in COVID-19? How is the city operating? What kind of alterations we have done to operate in this time frame, and you know, how are we doing this? So we welcome all of our commissioners or residents who are on the line just to have a conversation. Remember, this is open to everyone just to speak. I just want to reiterate, because I know that is something that we are cautiously treading around, but just to say this upfront, that we are aware of sunshine. And there's no sunshine that's being violated here, because we're just having discussions on things that are pertinent to our city of North Miami Beach, and not things that the commissioners are going to be voting on right now. If we see that we're going down a path where something may be that way, we promptly stop it. But I just wanted to have that conversation with you and let you know today we're going to be speaking about the Public Services Department. How is your Public Services Department operating in this kind of environment? What are we doing? What kind of alterations we have made within the department? And we're going to hear from our director, Janine Johnson. We have said one thing, that we've got CIP projects. We already have things in queue, and we are moving along with those as we have them, and as we have been have been voted on by our mayor and commission. At this time, I just wanted to say good afternoon to our mayor, Anthony DiFilippo, to Commissioner Fortuna Smuckler, and also to Commissioner Barbara Kramer. Hello and good morning, good afternoon. Also, I see we have two residents that I recognize immediately online, which are Sister Sandra Douglas and also Ketli Joachim. And am I, yes, I think that's it so far. Anyway, I wanted to turn this over to Janine Johnson and her team, just to tell you how public services is operating in this environment. And of course, we're gonna be open for questions from everyone as to what's happening here. Please also remember that tomorrow we're going to be using, are we there? Yes, tomorrow we'll be seeing or hearing from Andy, who is our Parks and Rec director. Thank you so much. Janine Johnson, over to you.
Good afternoon, manager. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to share with you what Public Works has been doing during this time. I'm joined by my assistant director, Mr. Marlon Loban, as well as my CIP manager, Mr. Frank Ruiz. So what has Public Works done since the beginning of COVID-19? We really have not stopped. Public Works has continued to provide services in all of our different areas. As you know, we take care of solid waste, streets, we have our trolley, we do a bit of permitting as well, our facilities, our capital projects, and our hurricane preparedness has not stopped. To the left of our slide, you see that you can always reach us. Our contact information is there. whether it's for questions regarding solid waste, trolleys, or anything in general. Solid waste hasn't stopped, as I have said. The only change that we have had is that our commercial garbage has started an hour earlier. We're starting at 6 a.m. instead of 7 a.m. And this was a request made by the contractor to allow their drivers to go home earlier. Additionally, on a request basis, on a case-by-case basis, we have had some businesses that have reached out to us because they're generating less garbage, and therefore they have asked for reduced services. And in that case, we have been able to accommodate them. As I said, on a case-by-case basis, it depends on the business. Our residential garbage, our recycling, and our bulk has not changed. That has continued as usual. Our streets, again, we have been able to continue with our litter picking efforts. We have been able to continue sweeping our streets. And we've also been able to collaborate with the police on some of the issues that they've been having. For instance, we have noticed that there has been increased parking in some areas because, of course, there's been a change in the pattern of people's lives. And so been able to install some no parking signs in those areas. Our beautification efforts have continued. We have been able also to help the police in areas in some hot spots that they had, and we're able to trim the trees and open up the streets, and that has helped tremendously. So we haven't stopped in our streets either. Our trolley service, as you know, our trolley service is award-winning, and our typical hours were from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. These hours have been reduced Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We have been disinfecting our trolleys hourly. At the end of the route, the trolleys, they assemble, and with the assistance of the Parks and Rec staff and our staff, we have staff that goes on and they clean and disinfect the trolleys hourly in an effort, obviously, to keep our residents safe. We have, of course, noticed a drop in our ridership. And if you look to the right of the slide, you will see that we probably started the change in hours about week 3 of March, which is 316 to 321. And you could see that already the numbers were dropping. We did record a total of over 14,000 ridership in March. And now we're more than midway in April, and you can see our ridership is down to 2,863. However, we are happy that we've been able to continue to provide that service to our residents. Our permits, because Public Works does do a small amount of permit intake with everything that relates to our right-of-way, and that effort has been able to continue. We collaborated with Planning and Zoning and Parks and Rec, and our CIP and facility staff were able to put up these separations that you see at the receiving end. Also, our staff they're outfitted with masks and gloves as they receive plans and they review plans with the public. We are considering doing remote pre-construction meetings, in an effort to limit the contact. I am now going to hand you over to our Capital Improvements Manager, Mr. Frank Ruiz, and he will tell us a little bit more about what's happening with our capital projects.
Thank you, Judine. Good afternoon, everyone. Our capital improvement projects has continued with minimal delays due to the COVID-19. Our projects in progress are still the Northeast 183rd Street bike lane construction continues. FP&L will be relocating the existing light poles and electrical lateral poles on Northeast 12th Avenue. We've also have Jack Shaken Park that has been renovated for the Arbor Day. Scope included new ADA sidewalks, greenery, and new bus shelter. We have the Sky Lake wall beautification on Miami Gardens Drive. Contractor will commence wall prep and painting within the week. We're also working on Hanford Boulevard tree pit system, which is around 238 trees from Dixie Highway to Northeast 15th Avenue, and it also includes sidewalk repairs as well. We're also working on Snyder Tennis Center parking lot. We have added new curbing around the trees and repairs to the parking lot. Some of our upcoming budget projects include installation of new roofs for the Yes Center and the Lippman Theater, the City Hall third floor impact windows and City Hall elevator mechanical components, to include the elevator cap upgrade. As we continue our projects, we'll continue our social distancing when meeting with our contractors on site. Our goal is to continue our project safely and without delay. Thank you, stay safe, and these challenging times. Back to you, Jadine.
Thank you very much, Frank. Moving right along, I'm going to hand you over to our Assistant Director, Mr. Marlon Loban, who has joined our team fairly recently, and he will speak a bit more about our facilities and also what we have done for hurricane preparedness. Marlon? Hello, Marlon?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Hello?
you now. Thank you.
Okay, sorry
Go
about
ahead.
that. Good afternoon. With social distance measures still in effect, facilities continues to address maintenance needs. Facilities have upgraded to MERV 13 high quality filters, which remove 90% of particles within the air. Also, due to the reduced occupations of buildings, it has allowed facilities to address bigger maintenance projects such as painting, addressing the fire alarm system, and the city generators. With the assistance of the park staff, public areas are also regularly wiped down and disinfected on several times a day. Can you go to the next slide, please? Next slide, please. In preparation for hurricane season, all our divisions have upgraded their hurricane preparedness plans. Inventory of essential equipment, supplies, and materials are regularly checked to make sure they are at available levels when needed after the storm. Staff continues to prune and trim trees to reduce hazards in the event of a storm, while also coordinating with our utility companies to ensure that they are pruning and trimming trees near the facilities to help reduce the event of damage during the storm. Drain and cleaning maintenance has also commenced to help reduce any flooding during a storm. Public Works will also be providing additional safety tips for before, during, and after the storm to be posted on the city's website for our residents. Thank you, Jadine.
Thank you very much, Marlon. I just wanted to point out that normally there are two events that we would have had. One was the Arbor Day event, which obviously we're not able to do, but we will also go ahead and have the proclamation for Arbor Day. And the other one is the Hurricane Expo, but we definitely know that we'll be able to get the information out to our residents. And finally, as Public Works, as a nod, as a salute to our men and women of blue, we have changed the color of our fountain to blue, and we hope that everyone continues to keep safe. If there are any questions, we will be happy to answer. Back to you, Manager.
Okay, are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you, Jadine and staff. That was a great presentation. I mean, a synopsis of everything that has been going on. And I want to recognize the efforts as well, because I know some of our residents are asking, I mean, hurricane season is coming. June 1st is a reality for us. But this is something that we do ongoing every single year. So as we operate with COVID-19, we are also putting those things in place also to make sure that we have a good preparedness for another hurricane season. God forbid, none of us wants a hurricane at this point in time, but this is something that we're tasked with. This is something we have to do. And I tell you something, that is well rehearsed, so that we do well. This we're learning much more about as we go on. I wanted to just say hello to welcome Commissioner Smith on the forum. She has since joined us since I spoke about everyone else. So welcome, Commissioner Smith. There's some questions I really wanted to feed off Jadine, because I wanted to commend your staff for the preparation. Jack Shaken Park, by the way, is off 171st Street. So in other words, it is east rather, east of 19th Avenue on 171, 172 Street, thereabouts. And thank you for sprucing up that park. It has not been done in years, and you were able to do it. I have one question for you. Did we procure the trees that we would have that we were going to buy as giveaways for Arbor Day?
We had everything in place. We had the PO and the vendor was ready to go. But when we realized that so many events were not taking place, we were advised to cancel the order. So we do not, in fact, have the tree right now.
Okay, great. Thank you. There's a question that just came in that asked whether or not the water department is open. Yes, our water department is open. And if you're talking about paying a bill, you can come to City Hall and pay that bill. City Hall is open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. And there are 2 drop boxes that are on the outside of City Hall that you could make your payments at those drop boxes. One is right in front of the circle there on 19th Avenue, and the others at the side in between City Hall and the police department is there. Also, but we would prefer if you stay home and stay safe. So with that said, I'll tell you that you could call the customer service department. You could also pay online at nmbwater.com. You could also phone and make it over the phone by calling 305-662-9283. 305-662-9283, which is the same as dialing 305 NMB Water. Also, customers are encouraged to pay the bills online. So whichever way you can utilize, just to make sure that you stay within your homes if you're not comfortable coming out. In fact, that's what we would prefer, because the numbers have spiked up. And if you're coming to City Hall, please know that there has to be that social distancing maintained, and we'll make sure that that happens. And no one gets in unless they're wearing a face covering. So that is ongoing. I wanted to just pause for a while if there are any questions. Yes, Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Manager, and thank you to everybody watching. I'm hoping everybody's home and safe and your families are safe. And I heard Ms. Johnson and her report. And while we see the ridership is down on our trolleys and that's going on, the adverse effect to that is that it may be something that people are staying at home and they're not going out and they're not riding around. So the few people that have to get around and use it, we can tell they're using it. But for the most part, although it's not good information, I am happy to hear that because it means people are staying at home. So, I hope that will pick up once things get better. But at least the report is showing that people are sheltering in place and not going around and riding around. In reference to the maintenance of the trees, we're now in April. Hurricane season's around the corner. I see in some places our city has taken a proactive approach, while there's still other avenues and streets that we need to address where there's low hanging limbs and we need to go through the city streets and neighborhoods and look at the swales, because there's some trees that are just so high, some neighbors don't have any means of getting to. So if we could look into that and through the corridors of 10th Avenue, 15th Avenue. I was sitting at 10th Avenue and I saw an 18-wheeler drive by, which they should not be driving through that street, an 18-wheeler, and whacked a tree limb and fell right in the middle of the street. So if we trim those up, or if we put back the signs that somebody took down and never put back up, hopefully we won't have those trucks going through residential neighborhoods the way they shouldn't. I'm thrilled to see that everybody's taking a proactive approach and all our departments are in full motion. Thank you, Manager. It's a great job.
Thank you, Mayor. And Janine, I just want to add, let's speak a little bit about that sign that the mayor spoke about. It has some historical reference because, you know, because we share that street with Miami-Dade County. There's some signage that used to be on there that is no longer there, but we need to discuss that because it's needed in that as well as some other areas that we're seeing. And to everyone else, Mayor, just to speak to your point, now is the time when we go on a full court press, so to speak, on tree trimming to include coconut trees as well. We have a set time period within which we do coconut trees on a scheduled basis, and that was for you, Commissioner Smuggler. I'm sorry. She often teases me in a kind manner because I say schedule. But you know, we have a scheduled basis for doing coconut trees, and so we continue to do those. I'll just tell you that maybe as a former public works director, probably speaking too much on this area, but I'll tell you this much, that hurricane seasons, you know, we have a good plan for that. We have a good plan for that. Yeah. And I must commend everyone within the city.
Message
yes.
TX.
I have a question.
Hello, Commissioner Smith. Before the question, I think Ketley Joachim had her hand up. My producer is giving me notes of who has hands up and when and the order. So if you don't mind, Commissioner Smith, thank you so much. Yes, Ms. Joachim.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
Okay, I don't know who that is. Someone needs to mute their phone. Yes, the question I was going to ask is that a resident called me yesterday.
Enter your participant ID followed by pound.
And new homeowners insurance.
You are in the meeting now. There are more than 30 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, he needs to get a copy of the last time that his roof was done. Would he be able to get that copy of that permit? Would it be a problem? I'm asking Jadine that. And then the second, it's a comment. Today I was around the neighborhood, and by the ball field, it seems that it's turning into an advertising for every other company. I've seen it happen in front of some schools. I don't really think it looked very aesthetic in our city. And in front of the ball field, there was a sign for, let me see, let's see, it was, one of them was for some company, let's see, Marty, Hanstein, Krav Maga, and something. And then there was another one, they had several others, and even Dick's Sporting Goods have a sign on the ball field. I mean, oh God.
This is in Yolita, right?
Yes.
Next to the ball field is next to the church?
No, where they play baseball. A little baseball field right there.
Okay, we'll look into that.
Yeah, because it looked like if we have 3 signs now, eventually, these companies, I think they sponsor the Little League, but it doesn't look very nice. Eventually, more people are going to want to have their signs up there. It doesn't look really nice at all.
We'll look into that. We'll see whether or not that sponsorship. I'm going to ask Andy and Code to get together to discuss that. But thanks. You had a question also about roof.
Yes,
and,
his permit. He had the roof done a couple of years ago, and he need a copy of that permit. Would he be able to get the copy of the permit either by calling, or does he need to go there?
Yes. Okay. Ketley, I know Daniel Azuna is on the line. We have not any services that we have had before. We have probably cut back the hours somewhat, but we're still operating. So the answer is, could you get a copy of it? I'm pretty sure you can. Very sure you can. And I know Danny Azuna is on the line.
Yes, yes, you can. I'm working remotely from home today, and for the next 13 days, unfortunately. But Ketri, you can call Mashir, Ismail, or Anthony Lamar, and you will have she will have a copy of the permit right away. That's something really simple that we can print it out in a couple of minutes.
Okay, I'll tell Pompey that. Okay, he's the one that needed.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Smith, and then after that, Commissioner Smuggler. Commissioner Smith? Commissioner Smith?
Do you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I have two things I'd like to mention. One is, we discussed it once, that if there's any construction going on at all, I saw where one of the other municipalities is having daily checks that people are wearing masks. And I bring it up today because I walked down the street and one of the neighbors had two workmen there. I don't know, doing the lawn or what they were doing, but they were both next to each other. One had a mask and one did not. So I just want to make sure in our city, any kind of construction, somebody is going by to make sure that any work is being done. And the second thing is, with the hurricane preparation, I don't know if you recall, but last year there were just screams for Florida Power and Light to take out the rotten telephone poles and the rotten electric poles that were up here. And so I just want to make sure under your checklist that you're also going to go around and see those old rotten leaning poles. I know Sky Lake's been complaining, so I'm sure the other areas, the mayor's shaking his head. That has to be also priority, and I just didn't want to wait till the last minute in case the responsibility is the other entity and not us, that we stay after them. Thank you very much.
Commissioner. Thank you so much. Jadine, do you want to say a little bit on that? Go ahead.
Yes, Manager. I don't think it's any secret that we have been working with FPL. The issue of the old poles that Commissioner Smith references, in some cases, they are still carrying services of AT&T and Comcast, and that's why they're still up. We continue to push with FPL as well as with the other utilities to encourage them to transfer their existing services to the new service. In some cases, we have been successful. In some cases, we have not. But it's definitely something that's on our radar, and we will continue to that effort.
And Ms. Johnson, can I add, and thank you for that, that's another issue, is all these wires hanging from these telephone poles, and some of them are hanging, they may not be broken, but they're hanging awfully low. And when the poles fall, the service is gone. And today, with people not having phones in their home and they're relying on that service, these are things that really will tie us together if we have a hurricane, or will really keep us very isolated. Thank you again.
Agreed. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Smuggler, you had a question or a comment? You're still, we can't hear you.
Okay.
We're good. We can hear you.
Yeah, can you skip me and come back? I'm at work and I have the mail delivering here. Can you come back to me, please?
Okay.
I need to deal with this.
Okay, great. Thanks. We have what, 8 minutes?
Yeah, I'll ask. Let me just ask a quick question then. Is it obligatory for the passengers to wear masks on the trolleys?
I would, without hesitation, I would say absolutely yes, they should be. If you're out in public, you should be wearing a face covering. whether it's in our trolleys, whether it's out in public. If you're coming, you should be wearing it.
Okay, so if it's not obligatory, I'd like to see that it is, please.
Yes, it should be mandatory that they do that. And Ms.
Okay.
Johnson, would you please make sure that that is well stated if it's not, and to reiterate it, that no one rides if they're not in a face covering.
Absolutely.
Someone was asking on that measure, what are we doing to sanitize the trolleys? And can you just speak on that a little bit?
Yes, manager. As I said, we have crews. We have partnered with Parks and Recreation, and at the end of every route, which is more or less on an hourly basis, we have crews that get onto the trolley. They are wearing masks and gloves themselves, and they are disinfecting the trolley. So this is happening on an hourly basis. We have 5 vehicles in total because we now have 4 routes, and that effort has been going very well.
Thank you. So the trolleys are sanitized before they go on a trip and after they come back from the trip. And I think we're sanitizing them by the library, or 170.
We're actually sanitizing them next to the high school, to the back of the Walmart Home Depot complex.
Right.
That's where they assemble, and our Parks and Rec and Public Works people are there. They have a tent, they're set up, they have their coolers, they have their disinfecting supplies, and every hour as these buses roll in, they are sanitized.
And Mayor, thank you. And Mayor, that's your answer to last week when you were asking about the census being out there. That's where they were doing the sanitizing from. So just to update you on that, sir. And also, as I talk about census, just to let you know that we've jumped up some good percentage points there. I think we're at 41.8 on Friday. Now we're at 43.1. So good effort over the weekend. We'll continue to push.
Fabulous.
NMB, yeah, and your friends to the south of us, Commissioner Smith, we're gaining on that percentage. But I dare say by our numbers and by their numbers, we're ahead in terms of folks who have responded to the census.
Adenia's a winner.
We're a winner. We have 37. Who was a question? Oh, Trish, you have a question.
Anyways, I would like someone to check the trees in Highland Village.
Okay.
And Judine, I had sent you a picture of a crooked telephone pole. I do not believe that it has been repaired at this time. If we could check into that. Again, because that is at the entrance of Highland Village, right near the circle. And if it falls, it's going to block our roadways to get in and out of Highland Village. So I would like that checked also.
Okay, we will.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, I think I see the mayor next.
Manager, I'll keep it brief, and I'm going to put my statement in the form of basically maybe a suggestion, because I don't want to break sunshine here, but I'm going to tell you, we have been sitting. I've been sitting here for over 6 years, and I have seen these polls, and they've done nothing in our city to these telephone poles. I don't care what area of the city you tell me. The only poles I've seen go up are 50-foot or 40-foot towers going on 163rd Street. I haven't seen any wooden poles. I haven't seen anything change in this city. That they're all leaning. They're all practically going to snip like toothpicks. And this city has, what, 3-4 power plants in it? I mean, this has to be FP&L's biggest area of where they distribute power from what I'm seeing. How can we put something in effect or come to an agreement with them? And it has nothing to do with what's going on now, but it has something to do with what goes on with our everyday lives. And I think that we are all witnessing these things now that we have more time and we're home, seeing the things that are going out and about in our communities and around our houses. And so the concerns are arising. And it's time for FPNL, quite frankly, in my opinion, to step up to the plate and take its initiative. And whether it's FPNL or AT&T, which I believe has dragged their feet for years already, when are we going to say that's enough? Our city's not putting up with it. You need to step in and you need to do something about it. And that's for my residents.
You know, Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes.
I had to switch equipment at the last minute here. Something happened here, but Mayor, you're correct. That's an age-old question that we have, and we've been going this over with FPL, who we have a litany. We have the book on that, where we're told that if it doesn't lean beyond a certain amount of degrees, that it is okay, and it's an ongoing thing. I knew when I ran public works, it was ongoing, and we had to press to get this done. Now that they've started their hardening projects, you can see the hardening efforts all over. But at the same time, because you wait on one utility and FPL does something, then you've got to wait on AT&T to do their transfer, because FPL cannot transfer AT&T's line or cannot transfer Comcast lines. That's when we see that. So we have to continue to press, take pictures, and just keep the correspondence going with them.
And I agree with you, manager, but one thing that we learned from Irma, and I'll never forget because I was in there in Monticello, AT&T, while FPNL had their lines wanting to go up and getting everything fixed in our city, it was lines like AT&T and Comcast that were schlepping their feet, okay? And their lines were down on the road and the streets were closed, okay? And we couldn't get stuff done because they were backing us up. So maybe, maybe it's not FPNL, but if we got to sit down with Comcast or AT&T, it's time to have a sit down, and everybody needs to be on the same page, because right now those utilities are not on the same page, and the people that are suffering are our residents.
Yes, you're correct, Mayor. I think we have less than a minute left, and we have Sandra Douglas who had a question.
Wait a minute, Mr. Manager.
Yes.
Ms. Douglas, just 1 second. There's two things I want to say. One is the residents here moved the poles themselves after 4 days. That's a liability to the city and so dangerous to our residents. That's number one. So that right away, that's on record. The second thing I want to say is